sometimes we saw a jump in numbers. But we're almost done. We're getting to the point. Huh? Sure.
All right.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
089. Randy, y'all got one to go wacky?
I've got no alcohol.
Okay, what's your arm? I'm trying to get your reading here.
Now, the state will tell you that never could happen. Now, officers have all kinds of, communication devices and everything else.
Maybe you should have them blow without the phone. So did you make it show reading and you have no alcohol?
Well, we'll see when it prints out. I was moving it around and we got to 03 or whatever it was, 023. It got to, and we got an invalid sample, which is what you should get immediately. But a lot of officers, now we were doing this, the reason I did it was because I wanted to show them we had used different car phones before, and depending on the car phone, we'd get different types of interference. But I used, and officers now carry car phones, those kind of things, and they carry portable radios, although most portable radios is more than enough to kick off the indicator, because most cops have probably 3-watt radios or more. But I just wanted to show you that it is possible that there could be some type of interference.
Hold the card up, Rick.
Yeah, and
here we got an 089 on the card, and I have no alcohol. I have not drank at all.
you blow into that once without it to show there's no
Well,
alcohol.
I'm going to.
What kind of telephone did you put back?
It's the standard,
One of these? Here.
it's a Motorola Microtac.
How recently has this been calibrated?
It only has 0.6 watts, which is...
Was the car phone antenna up or down, or was it in the...
Oh, yeah. The antenna was sideways. It was extended. The antenna was extended. But you have to remember, if you do that, okay, when we were doing some of the tests, remember a car phone is different than a pager. A pager is only a receiver. Okay, a car phone, well, hang on a second. A car phone goes both ways. So I got to run a whole other series of tests here. So
Chris, let him do it. Show again.
if you guys want to run it on another machine after we're done here, that's fine.
With the telephone, were you in the communicating?
Hi. Go.
We'll do some field exercises.
Come on.
Yeah.
He's running a new test just to show he has no alcohol. Straight zeros. We're waiting for the digit. There's a digit.
So I have no alcohol.
Then we have your wire here, and this is the wire that plugs in to your heating element. It heats your hose. You need to be careful of this because if you wrap the hose around, this wire can wrap around this quick disconnect here, and this all gets warm. And eventually what will happen is this wire will start to melt through, and that'll create some RFI problems for your instrument, and it will also create a dead short. If that wire touches against the body of the instrument, it will turn this thing off and turn it on, which is a jolt to a computer that's unbelievable. Literally, turns it right off. When a person blows in here, the breath sample comes through here, it comes to this heated hose here. This is heated also, that's what the black is. Comes around through here to this solenoid, through the sample chamber by way of this hose right here. Goes through here, out here, and out the back. And I hit the fan again.
Okay.
And that's the way that's the route of your breath sample. This here is your IR source. Down here, that's your quartz projector bulb with the spring on top and the metal bracket to hold it in place so that when you put it in a paint shaker, it won't fall apart.
Okay.
This is your sample chamber here. which is under a heater blanket on this end and insulation padding there, and this is basically what that looks like if you were to put that in there.
Okay.
That's a corroded one.
All right.
How long was that one corroded in the machine?
Don't know. Sample chamber, you see some threads here. That would be where these blocks are mounted. And these blocks have the lens in them which focuses the light into a single beam going through. There's a lens in this one and a lens in this one. And it goes through to the filter wheel or chopper wheel. We've always called it a chopper wheel. It's a filter wheel. And that's right in here, and you can see the little disc down there turning. And this here is the chopper motor. And this is what they call the calibrate board. And these are the pots to adjust your different channels, your 3.80, your 3.48, and your 3.39. These are your pots here. There's also an acetone adjustment pot. There's a threshold voltage pot, which basically is to not only adjust for the sensitivity of the acetone, but also at what level you want it to actually be detected and subtracted.
What does POT stand for? Potentiometer.
Yeah, it's a potentiometer.
Potentiometer, okay.
This little glob here looks like snot. This is what's called a thermistor. This was a big issue in Florida for a while because they considered this a modification to the original device. The thermistor actually protected the Intoxilyzer signals from heat changes, environmental temperature changes, cold and hot, mostly hot. If it got too hot, this would slow down the amount of electricity or voltage it would let through to the pots. And if it got cold, then it would let the electricity go through quicker. It actually made it better, but they considered it a modification, so we had to go through those issues. That's the thermistor down there. Almost all of them have thermistors now.
Georgia doesn't it?
Sticker where when the instrument was calibrated at the factory or by a factory person is the voltages DC that were set for each channel. That's your CPU voltage, that's your voltage reference, and that's the size of the sample chamber that's in this instrument.
81 cc?
81 cc, which is probably what all of them are. There are very few instruments with the large sample chambers anymore. This here is our RFI wire, and that just unplugs from here. And that runs off of here because if you're going to get RFI easily detected, it's going to be through this hose coming in through this way. So they put a detector on the entry point of this hose into the instrument. But this is all exposed here, unlike the predecessor to this was sealed in metal. So this is all exposed, so the mere fact that you have the hose here detecting RFI doesn't necessarily mean RFI won't happen, because if it gets to this board, then you might have an RFI problem. And this board's exposed, it's open in the back by the venting. They say the screening keeps it out. Okay. So that's that back there.
Wonder why they took the metal.
They isolated each board from RFI. Then they had the metal casing around it. We could not get this RFI to even dent this thing. And then they came out with the 5000. And they came out with the external breath hose that was heated, which instantly gave them an RFI problem. So to combat the RFI problem, they put on an RFI detector. But solenoid is the controller of all the routing of the air. The different functions you do, the instrument purges out this side. If it's going to do recirculating simulators, it's going to suck in through this side, send it through, around, and send it out this port. Once it's done that, this solenoid clicks off, this one changes direction, and air blanks out this side. Breath samples go in, out, and around, and out the back. Okay, this is the purge pump, which is also a fish aquarium pump. We already did the pressure switch. This is the motherboard. That's what they call it. It's on the bottom. It's on the bottom of all the other boards. And it's where most of all the high voltage things are. This is the power supply. And with the exception of the light bulb, I believe the pump and the fan, I believe, which are 110 powered. Everything else is DC voltage, and that's stepped down by this. This is the LED, the display. And that's just a board back here mounted. Very easy to replace. This is the board where your software chips are. These chips do pop out. And this is basically what tells the instrument what to say and what sequence you want things to happen in. These chips are right here. And then this is the printer board over here. This whole board runs the printer.
And then the printer head?
Printer head is here. It goes back and forth on a roller. Goes back and forth on a roller. Back and forth, it's a pin printer head. And that's about it. Your pot switches are over here. Your different, as we called Pandora's box yesterday. They're all here. That's different switch configurations. You can get it to do different things. And the VREF that Mary was talking about is this pot here.
So how does that affect the machine?
You can linearly raise or lower readings on the instrument with this pot.
Just by twisting it or turning it?
Yes, clockwise raises the readings, counterclockwise lowers the readings.
Okay.
And that's it.